Divorced men, when your ex got bankrupt and begged for money but you ignored her completely? Story 1. My ex-wife, Kendra, used to laugh at my cheap little savings account. During the marriage, she called me financially anxious whenever I asked why her online boutique needed another $8,000 inventory order. After the divorce, she kept the house, the SUV, and half my retirement. She also kept her pride, until the day I got a voicemail that sounded like it was recorded in a stairwell. Please, I just need help for the kids. I'm not asking forever. The funny part? We didn't have kids. She said it anyway because she knew it made people move faster. I didn't call back. I didn't text. I just stared at the screen and remembered the last time I'd begged. I was on my knees in the kitchen, asking her to stop using our joint card for business expenses. And she stepped over me to grab her keys. 3 days later, her sister messaged me. She's filing bankruptcy. She's not okay. Don't be cruel. I wanted to type a whole paragraph about cruelty. How it sounded when your spouse says, figure it out, while you're drowning. Instead, I did nothing. Silence became my boundary. A week after that, I saw her in person. Grocery store. She looked smaller, like someone had let the air out. She started walking toward me fast, like muscle memory. Hey, she said, voice already shaking. Can we talk? Just 5 minutes. I didn't even break stride. I picked up my basket and moved around her like she was a display stand. Behind me, she whispered, I never thought you'd be like this. I didn't turn. I didn't answer. Because if I opened my mouth, I'd either forgive her or say something that would haunt me. So I ignored her completely. And for the first time in years, my hands didn't shake. Story 2. When my ex went bankrupt, she didn't call me at first. She posted a dramatic, teary TikTok about starting over and betrayal and men who abandon women when they're down. Comments flooded in. You deserve better, queen. Expose him. Cash App in bio? Then my phone lit up with a private number. I let it ring out. Twice. 3 times. Finally, a text from her best friend. She's desperate. Please don't ignore her. She needs a loan to stop the repo. Loan. Like I was a bank branch with a pulse. Here's what the internet didn't know. 2 years earlier, my ex-wife, Lila, had insisted on keeping my name on a business credit line for credibility. Then she maxed it out and told me it was temporary. I spent a year paying it down so my credit wouldn't die. She never thanked me. She told people I was controlling with money. So when she sent her first direct message, I wouldn't ask if it wasn't serious. I'll pay you back. I swear. I didn't reply. She escalated. She showed up at my office. Security called. There's a woman crying in the lobby asking for you. I walked down anyway because some part of me still expected to feel something. She looked up when she saw me and her face did that old trick. Soft eyes, trembling lip. The performance she used to use right before I caved. Please, she said. I just need a little help. I'm losing everything. I nodded slowly like I was considering it. Then I stepped into the elevator and pressed the button without saying a word. The doors closed on her sob. Not because I hated her. Because I finally loved myself more than her emergencies. Story 3. My ex-wife used to call me Plan B. Not to my face, of course. I found out after the divorce when one of her friends got drunk and told me, laughing like it was a compliment. She always said if her dream guy didn't work out, at least she had you. I was the safe one. The stable one. The one she could drain slowly. After the split, she got the dream guy. Flashy realtor, leased sports car, big promises. I rebuilt my life quietly. New job. Therapy. Peace. Then, one night at 2:11 a.m., I got an email with the subject line, please. The body was 3 lines. I'm filing bankruptcy. He left. Can you help me? No apology. No accountability. Just a handout like it was still owed. I didn't answer. The next morning, my mom called. She called me. She said you're refusing to help her. She called you? I asked. My throat went tight. After everything, she sounded scared, my mom said carefully. The way parents talk when they want you to be the bigger person. I took a breath. Mom, she made me the smaller person for years. My ex tried again. Not with words. She sent a request through a payment app. No message. Just an amount, $3,000. I stared at it so long my coffee went cold. Then I declined it. Minutes later, she texted, wow, so you really hate me. That's the trap. If you don't save them, you're hateful. If you do save them, you're useful. I typed nothing. I blocked her. 2 days later, she emailed again. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I'm just drowning. That one almost got me. The word drowning. I remembered the night I told her I couldn't breathe under the weight of her spending. She rolled her eyes and said, drama. So I left her on red, in every possible way. Because sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is let the person who pushed you underwater learn how it feels. Story 4. The first time my ex begged, I answered. We were only separated then. She called crying, saying she'd made mistakes, saying she missed me, saying she needed help with rent because her new business partner disappeared. I sent $500, then $500 again. Then I caught the pattern. Her tears were invoices. So when the bankruptcy finally hit, full collapse, court paperwork, creditors calling, she tried a different angle. She showed up at my apartment with a folder like she was presenting a project. I wrote everything down, she said, eyes red, mascara crusted. I'll sign something. I'll pay you back with interest. She held out the folder. Inside were printouts, overdue notices, a repossession warning, and a handwritten budget that looked like a middle school assignment. I just need a bridge, she whispered. You're the only person who can do this. That sentence used to make me feel special, like I was her hero. This time it made me feel sick, because she didn't say, I'm sorry. She didn't say, I hurt you. She said, you're the only person who can do this. I looked at the folder and then at her face. I could see the old marriage in her posture, how she leaned forward like my resistance was just another door she could push open. I didn't take the folder. I didn't say a word. I stepped back, closed my door slowly, and locked it. She knocked. Once, twice. Then she started pounding. Are you serious? She yelled. After everything I did for you? I stood with my back against the door, heart thumping, and felt something unfamiliar, calm. Eventually, the pounding stopped. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed with a final text. You're disgusting. I deleted it without reading twice. Not because she didn't need money, because I finally understood she didn't need me. She needed a sponsor. And I wasn't renewing the subscription. Story 5. I found out my ex went bankrupt from a mutual friend who tried to soften it like bad weather. She's had a rough year, he said. Just be gentle if she reaches out. Gentle. Like she'd been gentle when she drained our joint account 2 weeks before filing for divorce. She reached out the same day. A voice note. Her voice sounded thinner, but the entitlement was still there, tucked between the sniffles. I know you're mad, but I'm really in trouble. I need a loan. I'll make it right. I didn't respond. She called again and again. I ignored every ring until the phone stopped feeling like a weapon. Then she tried the nuclear option. She emailed my boss, not asking for money, asking him to encourage me, to be compassionate, saying she feared I was spiraling and needed support. She tried to make me look unstable so someone would pressure me into contact. My boss forwarded it with one line, everything okay? That's when I finally broke my silence, just not to her. I sent my boss the divorce decree and a brief explanation. No drama, just facts. He replied, understood. She's blocked from contacting this company. That night, my ex showed up at my building. I watched from the peephole as she stood there with her phone in hand, rehearsing. She looked up at the door like it owed her mercy. Please, she said through the wood. Just talk to me. I'm scared. I leaned close enough that she could maybe hear my breathing. Then I walked away. The next morning, the doorman told me she'd been back at dawn, crying, asking if I'd left. I didn't feel proud. I didn't feel happy. I felt free, because ignoring her wasn't revenge. It was the first time I treated her emergencies like they weren't my responsibility. Story 6. The call came from an unknown number, but I knew it was her before I answered, because nobody else still had the talent to make my stomach drop with one ringtone. I didn't pick up. A minute later, a voicemail. Her breathing first, then a shaky, it's me. Please, I just need 5 minutes. 5 minutes. That was always the price. 5 minutes became 5 hours, became 5 months, became a marriage where my life was a revolving door for her chaos. After the divorce, she'd gone loud. New boyfriend, new apartment, new healing journey posts. She called me toxic to anyone who'd listen. And then the money ran out. I learned she filed bankruptcy because a creditor called me by mistake. We're trying to locate Ms. Raina Cole. My chest went cold. The last name was still mine on paper. That night she messaged, I'm losing everything. I'm not asking for forgiveness, just help. I stared at the screen and thought about the last time she asked for help. She wanted me to co-sign a loan for our future. 2 weeks later, she served me divorce papers. So I did what I'd never done when we were married. I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I didn't beg her to understand. I left her in silence so complete it felt like a locked door. 2 days later, she showed up at my gym. I was mid-set when I saw her in the mirror, standing behind the front desk, eyes scanning like she was hunting for a life raft. When our eyes met, she mouthed, please. I re-racked the weight, walked right past her, didn't slow down, didn't blink, didn't give her even a crumb of attention. Outside, my hands shook, not from weakness, but from the strange realization that ignoring her was harder than giving in. And still, I kept walking. Story 7. My ex didn't beg directly. She tried to turn the world into her messenger. First, it was her mom. She's really struggling, sweetheart. BANKRUPT. She's not sleeping. Can't you just lend her something? Then it was our old pastor. Then it was my cousin who hadn't texted me in 2 years but suddenly cared about family values. By the time she finally texted me herself, my patience was already ash. I know you hate me. I deserve it. I just need help with one payment or I'm done. I didn't reply. She sent a screenshot of a bank balance. $43.12. A dramatic little grenade. Then another message. If you ever loved me, you won't let me end up on the street. That line made my jaw go tight because it was the same script she used when we were married. Weaponizing love like it was a contract. So I did something petty but clean. I forwarded her messages to my lawyer and blocked her. An hour later, she emailed from a new address. Wow. So you can't even look me in the eye. Funny. Because I remembered the day she emptied the joint account. I had looked her in the eye. I'd asked, why? She shrugged and said, because I can. Now she wanted eye contact like it was mercy. The next week, I saw her car outside my building. She sat behind the wheel for 20 minutes, watching the entrance like she was waiting for me to appear and become the man she could still control. I walked out, turned the other direction, and called a rideshare. From inside the car, I watched her realize I wasn't coming. Her shoulders dropped like a puppet whose strings were cut. I didn't feel cruel. I felt done. Story 8. When my ex-wife went bankrupt, she didn't come crying. She came bargaining, like a salesperson who thought I was still her easiest close. She emailed a spreadsheet. No joke. A spreadsheet titled Repayment Plan. It had dates, amounts, even a thank you line at the bottom like a signature on a receipt. If you lend me $4,200, I can stop the eviction and I'll pay you back in 6 months. Please confirm by tonight. Confirm. By tonight. Like I was a vendor, not the man she humiliated in court when she smirked and told the judge I handled stress poorly. I didn't respond. At 9:47 p.m., she emailed again. Urgent. At 10:03, are you seriously ignoring me? At 10:18, fine. I didn't want to ask you anyway. That one made me laugh out loud in my empty kitchen because it sounded exactly like her. Insult the person you're begging. Next day, she tried an old trick. She sent a photo of us from early marriage. Her head on my shoulder, both of us sunburned and smiling. Caption. Remember this? We were good once. I stared at it and realized something that hit like a slap. She missed the version of me that paid for her problems. Not the version of me that existed now. So I deleted the photo. I blocked the email. I went on with my day. 3 weeks later, I heard she'd moved in with a friend and was telling everyone I refused to help. Good. Let her tell it. My silence was the only honest thing left between us. Story 9. I didn't ignore her at first. I ignored the impulse to rescue her. Because the second I heard bankruptcy, my old reflex kicked in. Fix it, pay it, solve it, be the hero so the screaming stops. That reflex is what she married. My ex, Tara, called me crying from a parking lot. I don't know what I'm going to do. They're taking my account. I can't breathe. I said nothing. Troy, she whispered, like my name was a rope. Still nothing. She started talking faster. I know I did you wrong, okay? I know, but this is serious. I can't lose everything. I finally spoke, but not the way she expected. Is there anyone else you can call? Silence. Then anger flashed through her voice. Are you kidding me? After 10 years together? We were together, I said quietly. You left. She laughed, sharp, ugly. So this is revenge. I hung up, not dramatically, not with a speech. Just click. 10 seconds later, she called back. I let it ring. Then again, I let it ring. By the 6th call, it didn't feel like guilt anymore. It felt like freedom. Later that night, she texted, I hope you're happy. I didn't answer, but I read it twice. Because the truth was, I finally was. Story 10. My ex-wife went bankrupt in the most fitting way possible, trying to look rich. Designer bags on credit. Luxury trips for networking. A new car she couldn't afford but wanted for Instagram. During the marriage, I used to beg her to slow down. She'd roll her eyes and say, stop being poor-minded. After the divorce, she upgraded her attitude and downgraded her reality. Until one day she showed up outside my workplace in the rain, mascara streaking like a movie. I saw her through the glass doors. She was pacing, clutching her phone, practicing what she'd say. I should have felt something. Love, pity, rage, anything. I felt tired. My coworker nudged me. Dude, isn't that your ex? I nodded and walked right past the lobby exit, taking the back hallway like she wasn't standing there soaked and waiting. She noticed anyway. She ran to the side entrance and caught me near the parking lot. Troy, Wait! Her voice cracked. Please. I didn't stop walking. Just 30 seconds, she yelled, chasing. I'm bankrupt. I'm losing my apartment. I opened my car door. She grabbed the edge of it. Don't do this. Don't ignore me like I'm nothing. I looked at her hand on my door and then at her eyes. Wide, desperate, finally seeing consequences up close. And I did the coldest thing I'd ever done. I peeled her fingers off one by one, gently, like removing tape. Then I got in, shut the door, and drove away without a single word. In the mirror, I saw her standing there in the rain, mouth open, realizing the truth. I wasn't her backup plan anymore. Story 11. I found her name on a court website before I heard her voice. Bankruptcy filing. Case number. A neat little public record of the life she used to flex online. 2 hours later, she texted like nothing happened. Hey, can we talk? No, sorry. No, I messed up. Just a casual knock on the door she burned down. I didn't reply. She called. I watched the screen light up, and it felt like a test I'd already failed 100 times in my marriage. Answer, comfort, fix, pay. That was my old religion. So I didn't answer. At midnight, she sent, I'm scared. I don't have anyone. Please. I almost caved, until I remembered the night I told her I was depressed and she replied, Don't dump that on me, it's exhausting. I put my phone face down. The next morning, I got a notification. She'd requested money through an app. The note said, for rent. I'll pay back. The amount? Exactly what she used to spend on a single weekend trip when we were together. I declined it. Minutes later, wow, you're really going to watch me drown. I stared at that sentence, then typed 4 words I never sent. You watched me drown. Instead, I blocked her and went to work. No speech. No victory lap. Just quiet. And for the first time, her panic wasn't the loudest thing in my day. Story 12. My ex didn't beg. She performed. She showed up at my brother's birthday dinner, uninvited, dressed like she was heading to a gala. Hair perfect. Nails perfect. The kind of broke that still finds time for lashes. She walked in holding a gift bag and a smile like we were still family. Everyone went stiff. Hi, she said softly. I just wanted to apologize to everyone. I've been going through a lot. Translation, I need an audience. I didn't stand. I didn't greet her. I kept cutting my steak like she wasn't there. She set the bag down and turned toward me with glassy eyes. Can we talk outside? Please? My mom's face did that pleading thing. Don't ruin dinner. But she'd already ruined enough. I stayed seated. No. Her smile flickered. It's just, I'm bankrupt. I'm going to lose my place. I'm not asking for much. My brother cleared his throat, uncomfortable. My aunt whispered, maybe just hear her out. That's what she wanted. Pressure. A room full of witnesses to make me look like the villain. She leaned closer. I don't have anyone else. I looked up then, calm as ice. You didn't want anyone else when you had money. The silence was so sharp it felt like a broken glass on the table. Her eyes went wide, not hurt, shocked. Like she couldn't believe I'd said the quiet part out loud. She laughed nervously. Okay, wow. So you're still bitter. I went back to my steak. She stood there for another 10 seconds, waiting for me to chase her, to comfort her, to be the old me. When I didn't, she grabbed her gift bag and left in a storm of perfume and humiliation. Dinner resumed, but everyone tasted the truth. Story 13. She tried to bait me with nostalgia. First, an email. A photo of our wedding day. Subject line. Remember our vows? Then another. A selfie of her crying. Subject. I can't do this alone. Then, I'm bankrupt. Please. My stomach twisted, because for a second I saw the girl I married. The one who used to bake cookies at midnight and dance barefoot in the kitchen. But then my mind played the real highlight reel. Her laughing at my second job, calling me obsessed with money, telling her friends I was cheap, then taking half my savings and walking out like it was nothing. So I ignored every message. 2 days later, I got a knock at my door. I checked the camera. Her. She stood there holding a folder, eyes puffy, lips trembling. She knew exactly how to look harmless. I didn't open. She knocked again, softer this time. Please. I know you're home. I stayed silent. Her voice rose. I'm in trouble. Real trouble. I'm losing my apartment. I just need a little help. I still didn't move. Then she snapped. Because desperation peels the mask off fast. You're really going to pretend I don't exist? She hissed. After everything I did for you? That line made my chest go cold. Because it wasn't a slip. It was the truth. She believed she'd done things for me by letting me be her safety net. I leaned close to the door and finally spoke. Quiet, almost polite. I'm not home. Then I walked away, heart hammering, hearing her stand there like a glitch in her system. trying to process the fact that she couldn't bully silence into becoming a yes. Story 14. When she went bankrupt, she didn't call me first. She called my new girlfriend. That's how I knew it was bad. Because my ex had too much pride to beg the man she once called a downgrade, but she had no pride about invading other people's peace. My girlfriend showed me the messages, eyes wide. Hi, I'm his ex-wife. I'm in a crisis. He won't answer. Please tell him I need help. Then, it's about money. I'm filing bankruptcy. I just need a loan. Then the kicker, if you love him, you'll help me. My girlfriend looked at me like, is this real? I laughed once, short and bitter. That's her. I didn't respond. Not to my ex. Not to her fake politeness. Not to her manipulative girl code nonsense. Instead, I blocked her everywhere and told my girlfriend, if she shows up, don't open the door. 2 nights later, she did. She stood outside our building with that same folder of documents, like bankruptcy paperwork was a magic key. She saw us through the glass lobby and her face bright, hope, relief, like she'd caught her prey. I squeezed my girlfriend's hand and kept walking, right past her, like she was a stranger asking for directions. Seriously? My ex yelled, chasing. You're going to ignore me in front of her? I didn't look back. She got louder. I'm broke. I'm losing everything. You can't just... The doorman stepped in front of her. Ma'am, you need to leave. My ex stared at me like she couldn't believe I'd let another man protect me from her. That's what made her crumble, not the bankruptcy. The fact that her access to me was officially closed. Story 15. My ex used to say, you'll always help me. That's who you are. She said it once during the marriage when I paid her credit card again, and she kissed my cheek like she was rewarding a loyal dog. So when she went bankrupt, she assumed the same thing. She sent one message. I need $2,000 by Friday or I'm screwed. Don't ignore me. No hello. No please. Just demand with a deadline. I didn't respond. Friday came. She called 20 times. I ignored all 20. That night, she left a voicemail that started soft and ended ugly. Troy, I'm sorry. I know I messed up. I don't have anyone else. Pause. Sniffle. Then the mask slipped. If you don't help me, you're a piece of shit. You hear me? After everything I put up with from you, I deleted it mid-sentence. 10 minutes later, a new voicemail. She was sobbing so hard I could barely understand her. They locked my account. I can't buy groceries. I can't, please. I'll do anything, except take accountability, apparently. I still didn't call back. The next day, a mutual friend texted, she's telling people you're enjoying this. I stared at my screen and felt something strange, like a heavy coat sliding off my shoulders. Because I realized she could tell any story she wanted. But the truth was simple. I wasn't enjoying her pain. I was just refusing to pay for her choices. And for once, I wasn't going to apologize for that. Story 16. She tried to catch me on a good day. That was her strategy during the marriage. Wait until I was relaxed, proud of myself, soft enough to say yes. When the bankruptcy hit, she timed it like a hunter. I'd just gotten a promotion. A rare win. I posted nothing, told almost nobody. Somehow she heard anyway. Her text came in. Congrats. I always knew you'd make it. I stared at it, confused. She hadn't said anything kind to me in years. Then the second text landed right behind it like a shadow. I'm in trouble. I'm bankrupt. I need help. Please. There it was. The hook? I didn't answer. She called. I ignored it. 10 minutes later, she sent an audio message. Her voice shaky, careful, the sweet version she reserved for strangers in emergency rooms. Troy, I swear I'm not trying to take advantage. I just need a bridge. One time. I'll pay you back. My eyes burned. Not from pity, from the memory of her telling me, stop acting like a victim, when I begged her to stop spending us into the ground. So I did something I'd never dared to do. I left her unheard. That weekend, she cornered me in the parking lot of my apartment complex. She stepped out from behind a car like she'd been waiting. You're ignoring me, she said, trembling like she expected me to apologize. I pulled my keys out slowly. Yep. Her mouth opened. Closed. Like she didn't have a script for agreement. I'm bankrupt, she whispered. I can't. I'm losing everything. I pointed at my door. That's my home. You don't get to come near it anymore. Her eyes filled with tears, but her voice sharpened. So you're punishing me? No, I said, and my voice didn't shake. I'm protecting me. Then I walked inside and locked the door while she was still standing there, still trying to figure out why guilt wasn't working. Story 17. My ex didn't go straight to begging. She went straight to threatening. Because that's what happens when a person confuses access with entitlement. She texted, I need money. I'm bankrupt. If you ignore me, I'll tell everyone what you did to me. What I did to her? I read it twice, waiting for anger. What I felt was clarity. During the divorce, she'd thrown accusations around like confetti. Anything to win sympathy. I'd spent months defending myself against rumors she started in the same breath as her healing posts. So I didn't reply. Not even to argue. Especially not to argue. An hour later, a mutual friend called. She's posting about you. Saying you're refusing to help her and you're abusive. I took a long breath. Send me screenshots. I didn't fight her online. I didn't write a counterpost. I didn't jump into the mud with her. I sent everything to my lawyer. That night, she called from another number. I ignored it. She left a voicemail, voice cracking with rage. You think you can just leave me like this? I'm going to ruin you. Ruin me. Because I wouldn't pay her bills. 2 days later, she got served with a cease and desist. My lawyer didn't play nice. Neither did I. Her next text was suddenly tiny. Please. I didn't mean it. I'm just scared. I stared at it, remembering how fear used to turn me into a wallet. I blocked her. Later, I heard she'd told people I was heartless, maybe. But I slept like a man whose life wasn't being held hostage anymore. Story 18. The bankruptcy didn't humble her. It just made her creative. She sent me a calendar invite. No warning, no message, just a meeting request titled, Final Conversation. Location, a coffee shop near my place. I declined it. 5 minutes later, another invite. Please. Declined. Then my phone buzzed with a text. Stop being childish. I need help. Childish. She was bankrupt and still talking like my manager. I didn't answer. So she showed up anyway. I walked into the coffee shop to meet a coworker and saw her sitting at a table near the window, positioned perfectly so I'd spot her. She had papers laid out like a courtroom drama. Bankruptcy documents. A pen. A latte she couldn't afford. Her face lit up when she saw me. Relief, hope, entitlement, all mixed together. Troy, she said, standing quickly. Thank God. Sit down. I wrote everything out. I didn't stop walking. I kept moving toward the counter. Her voice sharpened. Are you seriously going to pretend you don't see me? I ordered my coffee. She followed me, close enough that people turned to look. I'm losing my car. I'm losing my place. I'm not asking for charity. I'm asking for a loan. I took my cup, finally faced her, and said the quietest sentence in the loudest way. I don't do business with you anymore. Her eyes widened, like I'd slapped her in public. I walked out, leaving her with her papers, her pen, and a table full of consequences. Story 19. The message came from her dad, not her. Son, she's in trouble. She filed bankruptcy. She needs help. Please. Her dad used to hate me. Called me soft. Said I wasn't ambitious enough for his daughter. Now he was calling me son, like I'd always been family. I didn't reply. A day later, her mom called. Sweetheart, she's sick with stress. She's crying all day. Just talk to her. I almost laughed. Because when I was losing weight from anxiety during our marriage, she told me I was being dramatic. Finally, my ex called herself. Voice small. I didn't want to do this through them. That sentence made it sound like she had standards. I need help, she whispered. I'm bankrupt. I stared at my wall, feeling the old instinct rise. Rescue, rescue, rescue. Instead, I said, okay. She inhaled sharply, hopeful. Okay? Okay, I repeated. You're bankrupt. Silence. Aren't you going to... She started. No, I said calmly. Her voice cracked into anger immediately. So that's it? You don't care if I end up homeless? I could have argued. I could have listed every time she'd used me. Every insult. Every betrayal. But I didn't. That was the point. I hung up. No speech. No fight. Just a clean end. Her parents texted me afterward, furious. Mutual friends called me cold. But the truth was, for once, I wasn't being cold. I was being free. Story 20. She sent a single word after months of silence. Help. Not hi. Not, can we talk? Just help, like I was still on call. I didn't answer. 2 minutes later, I'm bankrupt. Then, I'm locked out of my accounts. Then, I'll pay you back. I stared at the messages and felt my pulse slow instead of spike. That's how I knew I'd healed. Because the panic wasn't mine anymore. She tried calling. I declined it. She sent a photo of her empty fridge. Then a photo of a past due notice taped to her door. Then, finally, a selfie. Her face blotchy, eyes swollen, the perfect image to make me feel like a monster. Please, she typed. Just enough for groceries. I'm begging you. I didn't respond. The next day, she showed up at my workplace and stood outside like a protest. When I walked out, she rushed me. Troy, she cried. Please, I don't know what to do. People stared. That was the goal. Public pressure. I looked at her for a long second and saw it clearly. She wasn't asking because she trusted me. She was asking because she'd burned everyone else. I said nothing, walked past her, and got into my car. She slapped the window once, hard, then stumbled back like she'd shocked herself. I drove away. In my rearview mirror, she was still standing there, mouth open, realizing the worst part wasn't my silence. It was that I'd finally meant it. Story 21. She didn't start with money. She started with guilt, because guilt was the only currency she still had. I'm not okay, she texted at 1:06 a.m. I'm scared. I almost replied out of reflex. Then I remembered. When we were married, she used to send I'm scared right before she asked me to cover something she'd hidden. I didn't answer. At 7:30 a.m., she hit me with the real headline. Bankruptcy court is next week. I need help with a retainer. Just a little. Please. Retainer. Like I was still her emergency fund. I ignored it, went to work, lived my day. By lunch, she'd sent 8 more messages, each one shorter, sharper. Hello. Are you serious? I would never do this to you. You're disgusting. That last one was the funniest, because she absolutely would have done it to me. She did. She just called it boundaries when she did it. That night, she left a voicemail. No tears. Just pure rage wrapped in a whisper. If you don't help me, I'll come to your place. I'll make you talk to me. I didn't call back. I called my building manager instead and told him her name. He said, understood. 2 days later, she showed up anyway, buzzing every apartment like a ghost. Someone must have let her in because I heard it. The knock. The pause. The knock again. Harder. Open the door, she hissed. I know you're there. I stayed silent. She kicked the door once, then another time. You can't ignore me forever. But I could, because that's what doors are for. When her footsteps finally retreated down the hall, I didn't feel triumphant. I felt safe. Story 22. My ex went bankrupt and tried to sell me a redemption arc like I was the audience for her comeback story. She emailed, I'm finally taking accountability. I'm going to therapy. I'm rebuilding. I'm ashamed. Then the next paragraph, I just need $1,500 to get through this month. She was still charging admission. I didn't respond. So she sent another email with an attachment, a PDF titled Promissory Note. She'd filled in my name, the amount, and a repayment schedule that assumed she'd magically have income again. The audacity almost impressed me. Then she called from her work number, probably thinking I'd answer if it looked professional. I let it ring. When it stopped, I got a text. You're seriously ignoring legal paperwork? I'm trying to do this the right way. I laughed. The right way. Like using a promissory note turned manipulation into maturity. A week later, she tried the random run-in. I was at a hardware store picking out light bulbs when I heard my name like a hook yanking my spine. Troy! Oh my God. Hi. She appeared at my shoulder with a cart she didn't need. 2 items inside, like she'd rushed in just to stage this moment. Can we talk? She asked, eyes glossy. Just for a minute. I didn't move. No. Her smile twitched. I'm not asking for much. I'm bankrupt. I'm just trying to survive. I held up the light bulb in my hand. Calm. Then survive. Her face hardened instantly. So you're just going to watch me suffer? I didn't answer. I put the light bulb in my cart and walked away. Behind me, she muttered. You changed. Yeah, that was the point. Story 23. The bankruptcy made her bold in a way I'd never seen. Because desperation turns some people into thieves. I noticed it first when my credit monitoring app pinged. A new inquiry. Then another. Then a third. I froze. Nobody should be touching my credit. I pulled the report and saw it. She'd tried to apply for a personal loan using my information. Not successful, thank God. But she'd attempted it like it was normal. I sat there with the report on my screen, feeling the kind of cold fury that doesn't shake. It sharpens. 10 minutes later, she texted, I need help. I'm bankrupt. Please don't make this harder. Harder? I didn't respond. She called, voice trembling. Troy, I messed up. I'm scared. I'm going to lose everything. I could hear a lie forming behind her tears, like a snake behind glass. I said one sentence. Did you run my credit? Silence. Then, what? Number. Why would you? Because I got alerts, I said, calm. Her tone flipped instantly. Okay, fine. I was desperate. I thought if you won't help, I'll just what? My voice stayed flat. Steal? She started crying again, but it was the ugly kind now. You don't understand what it's like to have nothing. I stared at my living room, remembering nights I'd skipped meals to cover her bills while she posted vacation photos. Oh, I said quietly. I understand. I hung up. Then I locked my credit, filed a report, and changed every password she might still guess. Later that night, she sent one last message. I can't believe you do this to me. To her. Like I was the criminal. I blocked her without replying, because any word I gave her would have been a gift. And she'd already taken enough. Story 24. My ex's bankruptcy came with a surprise. She tried to use our dog as leverage. We'd agreed in the divorce that I'd keep Max. She didn't want him. Said he was too much work. She only wanted the Instagram photos. Then, after the bankruptcy, she texted, I need Max back. I'm depressed and alone. Please. I didn't answer. Next message. If you don't help me financially, at least let me take him. You owe me. Owe her. For the dog she abandoned. Then she escalated. She posted online that I'd stolen her dog. People started messaging me. Give her back her baby. You're cruel. I didn't comment. I didn't defend myself publicly. I just saved screenshots and kept walking Max in peace. 2 days later, she showed up at the park where I always took him. Like she'd been tracking my routines. When Max saw her, his tail wagged. Because Max loved everyone. He didn't know manipulation. She dropped to her knees dramatically. Max! Mommy missed you. Then she looked up at me, tears ready. Please. I'm bankrupt. I can't even eat some days. I just need him. And maybe you could help me a little too. Anything. People nearby slowed down, watching, interested. I crouched and clipped Max's leash tighter. No, I said. Her eyes widened like she expected the crowd to shame me into softness. I'll tell them what kind of man you are, she whispered. I stood up, calm. Tell them. Then I walked away with Max trotting beside me, happy as ever. Behind us, she stayed kneeling in the grass, stuck in a performance with no applause. Story 25. She didn't beg me. She begged my silence. Her first message was blunt. I'm bankrupt. I need money. I ignored it. Her second message was softer. Please. I'm embarrassed. I didn't want anyone to know. I ignored it. Her third message was the truth, finally. If you don't help, I'll be ruined. Everyone will find out. There it was. Not hunger, not eviction, not fear, shame. She didn't want to be poor. She didn't want to be seen as poor. During our marriage, she'd treated money like a spotlight. She needed it on her at all times. And now the light was dying. She called. I let it ring. She called again. Then a voicemail came through, quiet and trembling. Troy, I know I hurt you. I know. But please, if you can't give me money, can you at least not tell people? Please. That hit different. Because it wasn't a demand for cash. It was a demand for control. Control of the story, control of the image, control of how people would see her. I still didn't answer. A week later at a mutual friend's party, she cornered me in the kitchen like it was a hostage scene. Her eyes were bloodshot, smile forced. You've been ignoring me, she said through her teeth. You're enjoying this? I sipped my drink slowly. No? Then help me, she hissed. I set my cup down, looked right at her. I'm not your cover anymore. Her face went pale. She whispered, You're going to let them see me like this? I didn't raise my voice. I didn't make a scene. I just walked out of the kitchen and back into the party, leaving her alone with the thing she feared most, the truth, without my protection. Story 26. She sent the request through my business email, like professionalism could wash the desperation off. Subject, inquiry, body. Hello, Troy. I hope you're well. I'm currently facing financial hardship due to unforeseen circumstances. Would you be willing to provide temporary assistance? Like we were strangers negotiating a contract. I stared at it and remembered the last professional message she sent me. The divorce filing notice. No phone call. No face-to-face. Just paperwork and a cold signature. So I ignored her email. 10 minutes later, she followed up from her personal account. Please don't do this. You know I'm bankrupt. I ignored that too. Then she did what she always did when she lost control. She tried to make me the villain in someone else's story. She emailed my assistant. She emailed the general inbox. She even sent a message to our company's social media page. My assistant walked into my office, uncomfortable. Your ex is contacting us. I nodded like I'd expected it. Blocker. Later, I watched the security camera footage. Her in the lobby, clutching her phone like a weapon, demanding to see me, crying loudly enough that strangers turned their heads. I didn't go down. She left a voicemail that night. You think you're so important now. You're not. You're just selfish. Selfish. Because I wouldn't let her use my workplace as a pipeline to my wallet. The next day, I finally replied, one line, to her business email. The one she thought made her look dignified. Do not contact my workplace again. Then I blocked every address she had. The silence afterward felt expensive. Like peace you have to earn. Story 27. Her bankruptcy turned her into a poet. That's the weirdest part. She started sending these long messages full of regret. Paragraphs about our journey, the love we once had, how she's learned. At first, I almost believed it. Then I noticed the pattern. Every message ended with a number. $900 would fix this. $1,300 would stop the late fees. $2,500 would save my car. She wasn't writing apologies. She was writing invoices with emotions attached. I didn't answer. So she switched tactics. She sent a voice note where she sounded tiny, broken, almost unrecognizable. Troy, I'm sitting in my car right now. I don't even have gas. I'm scared. Please. I don't have anyone. I sat on my couch and listened twice because my brain kept hunting for the part where she'd actually say, I'm sorry. It never came. Just fear. Just need. Just her. Reaching for me like I was still a tool. I didn't reply. 2 days later, she showed up outside my place and left a letter under the mat. A physical letter. Like it was 1998 and she thought paper would make it real. Inside, a photo of us and a handwritten line. I wouldn't be here if you hadn't left me. That sentence snapped something clean in my chest. I hadn't left her. She left me. She just didn't like the consequences of her choices. I threw the letter away without keeping the photo. That hurt. But it also healed. Because it proved she hadn't changed. She just ran out of money. Story 28. My ex went bankrupt and tried to accidentally meet me in public. Twice. First time. The farmer's market. I turned a corner and there she was, holding a basket, looking surprised in the most rehearsed way possible. Oh my God, she gasped. Troy? Wow. What are the chances? I nodded once and kept walking. She followed. Can we talk? I'm not doing well. No response from me. So she started speaking louder for the crowd. I'm bankrupt. I'm losing my place. I just need a little help. People turned their heads. I could feel the judgment already forming in strangers' eyes. She loved that. She loved making me the bad guy in a scene she directed. I stopped, turned, and said quietly, don't do this. Her eyes widened. Do what? Use people, I said, still quiet. Use me. Then I walked away, leaving her standing there with her basket and her audience evaporating. Second time, a week later at my barber. She walked in, looked at me in the chair, and her face cracked. Like she couldn't believe I still existed when she needed me. Troy, please, she whispered. My barber froze, cape in hand like he didn't know if he was supposed to keep cutting. I looked at my reflection, then at her. Leave, she blinked. I just need... Leave, I repeated, louder, not angry, final. She stood there trembling, then stormed out like she'd been humiliated, like I'd done something cruel. But I didn't. I just refused to let her turn my life into her stage again. Story 29. She tried the emergency route. She texted, I'm at the hospital. Please call. My heart jumped. For half a second I was back in our marriage, sprinting toward her crises like they were alarms. Then I remembered. She faked emergencies before. Not health ones, but dramatic ones. Car won't start. Landlord is harassing her. Boss is bullying her. Every time, the solution was money and attention. So I didn't call. Instead, I texted one line, if it's an emergency, call 911. She replied instantly, wow, you don't care if I die. There it was. The manipulation, naked and impatient. 10 minutes later, fine. It's not like that. I'm stressed. I'm bankrupt. I need help. So the hospital was a lie. I felt my stomach drop, not from worry, disgust. I didn't answer. Later that night, she posted a vague status. Some people show their true colors when you're at your lowest. Mutual friends started messaging me. Is she okay? Did something happen? I replied to none of them. I didn't defend myself. I didn't chase the narrative. Because she'd always been better at storylines than truth. And I was finally done acting in her fiction. Story 30. When my ex went bankrupt, she didn't come to me with tears. She came with a demand disguised as closure. We need to meet, she texted. It's important. I ignored it. You owe me a conversation, she texted next. I ignored that too. Finally, I'm bankrupt. If you don't meet me, I'll show up at your job. There it was. Threats with a bow on top. So I met her, on my terms. Not at a coffee shop. Not somewhere private. I met her at a police station lobby. I didn't tell her where until the last second. I texted, I'm here. She arrived 10 minutes later, eyes blazing. Are you serious? She spat, looking around. You're doing this here? I shrugged. You said you might show up at my job. Her face tightened. I just need help. I didn't sit. I didn't soften. No. She stared like she couldn't compute it. You can't just abandon me. I'm not abandoning you, I said evenly. We're divorced. Her eyes filled with tears, then flipped to anger. So you're going to watch me lose everything? I leaned in slightly. You already watched me lose everything. You just called it my fault. For a second, she looked like she might scream. People glanced over. A receptionist raised an eyebrow. She swallowed hard and lowered her voice. Please. I stood up. Goodbye. Then I walked out, leaving her sitting under fluorescent lights, finally learning the difference between marriage and access. And for the first time, I didn't look back.